Okay, let's see. This is September, late September 2014. Talk about a barn find. This is my bike from when I was a kid. Well, I mean, technically it was my dad's bike. When I was about 9 or 10 years old, as soon as I was big enough to flatfoot the thing, or probably not even quite flatfoot it, this is the bike I learned how to ride. I have the original title for it. Last registered in 1983. It's been sitting in a barn. Talk about a barn find. This is straight out of a barn. Actually, a chicken coop. Missing a few pieces. It's mostly there. My parents sold their house, including the chicken coop, to my sister and brother-in-law, and it's a pretty big coop, and this thing was buried clear in the back. Well, my brother-in-law, bless his heart, he dug it out for me yesterday, and today I went and picked it up, be reunited with my bike I haven't seen since probably, well, at least 1982. 1983, I would have been 16 and driving cars. I don't think I drove this thing much after about 82. But this is what started it all for me. This was my first ADV bike, and boy, the adventures I had on this. It's a 1968 Kawasaki Roadrunner, 120cc, TR120, TRC2. Got a couple different names it goes by. Some of the takeoff stuff, like the turn signals and the chain guard, that stuff's still up in that chicken coop somewhere, but I am not going to hold my breath on getting it back. Seeing as how this was my first bike, I'm going to restore it, and it might take me a few years. Unfortunately, here in Nebraska, this was across the river in Iowa, it's not a climate controlled, obviously, chicken coop, and it does have some pretty moderate rusting on the chrome, which disappointed me, but it is what it is, a bike that's been sitting since the 80s. Toolkit's gone. Probably there's a whole milk crate full of parts still up in there. I love the old rubber knee pads. You just don't see that kind of stuff. Actually, some of the retro stuff does have the rubber knee pads and scrambler pipes. That stuff's all kind of coming back into style. And this one has 3,271 original miles on it. Speedometer worked when I parked it. When I was probably about 14, I ran it out of two-stroke oil, forgot to fill the reservoir, and seized the piston, and I believe I went 20 over, maybe 40 over. First oversize. Took the whole thing apart. Had the engine out of the bike, had the whole bike torn apart. My dad came home, said, "What in the hell are you doing?" I said, "I'm going to rebuild it." He said, "Oh, geez, you'll never have that thing running again." I actually took auto mechanics in high school, and as my project, I rebuilt the engine on this. And it did run when I parked it. See, the oil cap's gone, but it does still kick over. It seems to have pretty good compression. Could probably get the thing fired up, but I'm not going to. I'm going to tear it apart. Probably do some powder coating on the frame and swing arm. I know that's not technically correct, but technically I don't give two shits if it's correct or not. I kind of like the powder coating. Pretty sure the engine's going to need all new seals in it. I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And those 40-year-old seals got to be just not even worth thinking about. I don't want to restore the thing and have it dripping oil or filling the points blade up full of oil or whatever. Haven't popped the gas tank yet. Don't know what that looks like on the inside. Don't think the seat's going to be savable like it is. Probably going to end up having to have some professional work done to that, taking it all the way down to steel and having the pan painted, new foam and custom seat cover made. I see some parts on eBay, some NOS parts. It's going to need about one of everything. It's going to be some expensive to put some damn cables on this. Man, the cables for this bike are going for like $50 each. Good God, Hope it doesn't have 1982 gas in it. Yeah, it's rusted shut. I'm gonna have to get some penetrating oil up on the gas cap. I don't want to mess anything up worse than it's already messed up. I kind of dig the funky little headlight speedo thing. That's kind of neat. The stainless steel fenders. The gas tank paint's not horrible, but it's gonna need repainted. Right side cover appears to be actually pretty good. Unfortunately, the left side's broken. Pretty much every piece of chrome has pitting on it. Probably try to go with some of the NOS stuff, and some of the stuff you just can't find, like the luggage rack. Probably gonna have to have some of that stuff re-chromed. I suppose in mint condition, this bike's probably worth, gosh, I don't know, at least $2,000, maybe more, $2,500, $3,000. I bet I have more than that into it by the time I'm done. So it's not going to be anything to ever make me money, that's for sure. Be a labor of love. Yeah, it looks like I went and fucked with the wiring when I was a kid. Dad was always busy working. He was had his own business as electrical and refrigeration contracting, and he was always so busy working he never had time to fix anything on this if it'd break down. So from the time I could ride it, I was turning wrenches on this, and every repair ever done to it I did myself. So you might see some splices in the wiring, but it was done by a 10-year-old kid. In fact, I think I saw some wire nuts. Yeah, some wire nuts here in the battery compartment. Well, shit, I didn't know any better. I really like the retro style, though. It's kind of neat. Yeah, you can see the Iowa 1983 plate. That would be the last time it was registered. She had a long nap. So I can't imagine this happening in less than 2 years. But you take the engine all the way apart and probably powder coat all the pieces. Use a few NOS parts here and there. All the seals and all that kind of stuff. Looks like they're still fairly all available. Still have the original toe heel shifter. And it was me that took the turn signals and mirrors and all the stuff off this, trying to make it more into a dirt bike as a kid. Key's gone, and whoa, that's going to be a fun time trying to find a key for a 1968 Kawasaki, I'm sure. But yep, this is what started it all. This is what started my madness. So we'll do some updates. Do a little short video when it's all torn down. I don't know what. I'll take a video of all the parts and pieces, I guess, and make some videos of putting the thing back together. First goal is going to be to get some. You get a rolling chassis is going to be the first plan. Get the frame and all the black parts powder coated. Bearings is needed. Dang chrome on the forks is pretty rusty. Might have to try to find some new forks. That one's got pretty good ding in it right there. Not pretty good, but the fork ears are rusty. Pretty much every single piece of chrome has rust. In fact, the handlebar chrome there is peeling off. So yeah, it's gonna need one of everything. But it's mostly there at least. At least I have something to start with. And you know, I've seen other ones of these on eBay. I've seen one just ended and it was in similar condition. Like, I mean, if I took this to the car wash, cleaned it up, got all the grease off of it, maybe took a little steel wool and hit the worst of the chrome spots. That's about the condition it was in. It was in by no means great condition, but it was listed for $2,000, and I see it didn't sell, so I saw some of these. I saw a pair of these. I should have probably jumped on that. Minneapolis a couple years ago, which is about 8 or 10 hour drive for me. There was actually a pair of these. What's the matter there, buddy? You got a problem? You need the plug unplugged? Well, you could just ask. I was making a video there, honey. Say hi, ADV World.
Hi, ADV World.
That's my next adventure rider right there. Got my 23-year-old boy already into adventure riding. Oh, the pair in Minneapolis, there was actually a 68, and the 67, 68's this burgundy red color, and the 69s have they're predominantly white with burgundy trim. Not that it matters, except to me. I mean, I wanted the one I had when I was a kid, but there's a pair of these in Minneapolis I should have jumped on. There was this TR version, and there was the 120 SS version, which is the street version. Has the hugger fenders and street tires, no luggage rack. The pair was, the guy was asking $1,000 for the pair of them, and they were in pretty nice shape. I probably should have bought them, but that's the thing. I mean, how many guys that are 50 years old can say, this is the bike I had when I was a kid? I mean, I'm not talking this is like the bike I had. This is the bike I had when I was a kid. It's the same one. So that, to me, that's just priceless. Just brings back all the memories of exploring the world, all the creeks I forded through on this, all the hills I climbed, and believe it or not, you switch that sprocket over. Now, this doesn't have the quick shift. The 69, I believe, had the quick shift. Had a lever up on the bars, I think it was. And a mechanism right down here that would change the high-low range. Well, this had the spring-loaded bolts down here, and you had to pop the chain off, add another link of chain in there, and then crank those bolts down to suck the sprocket over. Got some springs in between the two sprockets. You had to do it all manually. But you put that big sprocket on there, I'll tell you what, this thing could climb a mountain, but only at about 15 miles an hour. I believe these bikes have 8 or 11 horsepower, something like that. It sure ain't very much. But the story goes with this one, my dad, in, about 1971 or 72, and his friend who was working for the U.S. Geological Survey, they actually took this bike, 2 grown men in a rucksack. My dad's friend had a converted school bus camper, must have been about a late 50s, I suppose, school bus. Just had a couple of plywood bunk beds in it, and the rest was mostly storage and kitchen and stuff. Well, anyway, they put this in the school bus, went out to Wyoming, and they collected tonnage of petrified wood and hauled it all back, the 2 of them and a rucksack, on this little bike. And that's another reason it's really sentimental to me. Just, it's been in the family like that. Now, Dad didn't buy this brand new. He bought it used, but it was in mint condition when he bought it, and probably just like 2 or 3 years old. I suppose he bought it in 71. So anyway, that's the story of my 120 TR. Hopefully someday it'll be all back to its former glory. At least it's a pretty simple bike. There's nothing too complicated on putting this one all back together. Just money, chrome, and paint, and lots of NOS parts, all the cables, seals, bearings. Well, that's the story of my 68 Kawasaki 120 TR. Hope to continue the series.